Hi, and welcome to our video on solving 1 and 2-step algebraic equations. We're going to walk our way through a couple of examples today, and the first one we have here is x minus 8 equals 5. Please keep in mind anytime you are solving algebraic equations, your goal remains the same, and that is to determine what value can be put in the place of the variable so that the equation is true. So this is asking me what number minus 8 equals 5. And we're going to set this up showing our work step by step. And what I'm going to do is look at the letter x and figure out which number needs to be eliminated so that x is by itself on the left side of the equal sign. And I see in this case I have to eliminate negative 8. In order to eliminate negative 8, I'm going to pair it with its opposite or use inverse operations. So since I have a minus 8 here, I'm going to use plus 8 because a negative 8 and a positive 8 cancel out to make 0, so I can cross them out. Because this is an equation and both sides have to remain equal to each other, I'm now going to come to the right side of the equal sign, and I'm going to do the same exact thing, plus 8. I will be left with x on the left, and on the right, 5 plus 8 gives me 13. So x equals 13. I can always check my work. If I take the solution that I got and I put it back into my original equation in place of the variable, so in this case x will become 13. 13 minus 8 equals 5. If that's a true statement, which in this case it is, I know that I got my answer correct. Let's check out another example. 3y equals negative 15. Keep in mind in algebra, anytime you have a number and a variable sitting side by side as neighbors, it's showing you multiplication. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 3 here. And 3 divided by 3 leaves me with 1. So 1y, or just plain y, comes down on the left. And again, because it's an equation and it has to stay balanced, if I divide the left side by 3, I need to complete division by negative 3 on the right side as well. And 15 divided by 3, negative 15 divided by 3 is a negative 5. So my final answer will be y equals negative 5. And again, I can check my work. If I take my solution, y equals negative 5, and I sub it back into the original equation, it would look something like this. 3 times negative 5 equals negative 15. Well, 3 times 5 is 15. They have different signs. My answer is negative. So I know that I got that problem correct. This is our last example of a one-step equation. And I need to remember that in algebra, a fraction bar is showing me the operation of division. And in order to eliminate division, I use its opposite or its inverse, which is multiplication. So I'm going to start off here multiplying by 4 on the left side of the equation. And I'm going to use parentheses to show that I'm multiplying, and it's times 4. And that's going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with x. And whatever I do on the left, I have to do on the right. So I'm going to come over here and multiply by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So x equals 12. If I want to check my work, I can put 12 in for x. And so I'll replace it right here. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So that is also correct. With two-step equations, the order in which we solve is very, very important. So I'm going to come over here on the side and we're going to jot down the correct process. You should always add or subtract first, and you should always multiply or divide second. So if I look at my example here, knowing that I need to get this letter y by itself, I need to eliminate both the 5 and the negative 9. The 5 is being multiplied to the y, the 9 is being subtracted from it. So in order to get rid of the 5, I'm going to have to use division because that's the opposite of multiplication. In order to eliminate the 9, I'm going to have to add because that's the opposite of subtraction. So since I have to add or subtract first, I'm going to start by working with this 9. So since it's being subtracted, I have to add 9. So right under here, I'm going to do plus 9. And just like with our one-step equations, everything always has to stay balanced. So whatever you do on one side, you have to mimic on the other side. The 9's cancel out on the left-hand side because I have a negative 9 and a positive 9. Over on the right, 16 plus 9 gives me 25. And on the left, I'm left with 5y. Now I have to keep in mind I'm not finished yet. This is a two-step equation, which means I have to take 2 steps to solve. And I know that because if I look, y is not yet by itself. So now I have this 5 to get rid of. 5 is being multiplied by y. I'm going to divide by 5. That cancels out and leaves me with 1y, or just y. Whatever I do on the left, I have to do on the right, so I will also divide this side by 5. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. And just like with my one-step equations, I could check my two-step equations. So if I come back up here, and this time I am substituting in 5 for y. So it becomes 5 times 5 minus 9. If I follow order of operations, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 minus 9 is 16. So I got that one correct. And our final example is also another two-step equation. Again, keeping in mind I always add or subtract first, I know that I need to start with this negative 5. And in order to get rid of a 5 that's being subtracted, I'm going to use the opposite operation, and I'm going to add 5. So we're going to do plus 5 right here. Negative 5 and positive 5 make a 0 or cancel out. Whatever I do on the left, I have to do the same on the right. This is an equation. Both sides have to be equal. So 19 plus 5 gives me 24 on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I'm left with that negative 3 base. So I'm just going to bring that down. Negative 3 is being multiplied by b, and I know that because they're sitting together as neighbors. The opposite of multiplication is division, so to eliminate that negative 3, I'm going to divide by it. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 leaves me with 1, or 1b, so I'm going to bring down the b. Whatever I do on the left, I do on the right, so I'm going to divide the right-hand side by negative 3. And 24 divided by negative 3 is equal to negative 8. So b is equal to negative 8, which means if I sub negative 8 into this equation, I should have a true statement. So let's check this out. Negative 3 times b, which we just decided is negative 8, minus 5. Well, negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. 24 minus 5 is 19. And I notice that that matches the 19 I had over here. So that is true. I know that I got the answer correct. At this time, I'd like you to complete a little practice on your own. If you go back to our class website, you'll see there's a couple different games you could play to practice 1- and 2-step equations. You also have your IXL website, which has practice with both 1-step and 2-step. And then you have 2 assignments here, which are graded for you, and so you'll get some feedback on those. If you have any questions, please make sure to write them down and bring them into class tomorrow so that I can answer them for you.